So what is sound? To make our recordings sound as good as possible, we must first understand what sound is and how it relates to the characteristics of the human ear. In this lesson, we'll learn what sound is and what sound waves are so we can better understand how to manage them. If we think of ourselves as engineers who are trying to capture the best sound, then better understanding of our subject, the unruly sound wave, will give us our best chance at success. Sound is simply a disturbance of molecules. These molecules can be air molecules or the molecules of solid objects. When anything happens that makes these molecules vibrate, you can get a disturbance. A disturbance which we call sound. Stated simply, sound is produced by moving air. When a disturbance happens, the molecules get squashed together and they shoot off in all directions. These disturbed molecules bump into each other and spread out into compressed waves. They leave an area where there are less molecules behind them. Unless the disturbance is sustained, the particles eventually return to their original state. Air is the type of elastic medium that is needed for sound to exist. Because air is very elastic, it's also very easy to disturb. A wall is much more rigid, but it does have some elasticity, so it can also transmit sound. If you hit a wall with a hammer, the vibration will travel more quickly than air because the molecules are closer together, and also it disperses much faster because the material is much more rigid. One of the most fundamental basics of audio is what is known as the propagation of sound. We call this acoustics, which is all about the science of sound. These principles are used to design recording spaces, control rooms, concert halls, speakers, amplifiers, and sound systems, all with the purpose of making a balanced and pleasing listening environment. The design of musical instruments and how they project in an acoustic space play a huge role in the choice and placement of microphones that best capture the essence of a given instrument. How you manage and control the acoustic space, the instrument, and the microphones help capture the best sound and help you make the most important decisions when you're recording. Understanding these basic principles allows you to make the best decisions. Let's talk a little bit about sound waves themselves. Sound waves are similar to water waves. If you toss a rock into a pool of water, the impact creates energy and waves are created. At the point of impact, the stone exerts pressure downward onto the surface of the water, and waves spread outwards. Looking at it another way, if you think of an ocean wave, the start of the wave cycle would be the beginning of the first wave. It would continue with a trough below the waterline and would end with the beginning of the next wave. The difference is that sound waves radiate in all directions, not just on a level surface the way ocean waves do. That's why tossing a rock into a pool of water is a better analogy. Sound waves, like water waves, repeat consecutively, with later waves getting weaker and weaker over the course. Both water and air waves possess crests and troughs which represent levels of greater or lesser air pressure. To use another analogy, when a guitar string is picked, something similar happens. Sound waves are created by the guitar as the body vibrates. The vibration of the guitar body sends out waves through the air, which are just like water waves. The ear is sensitive to those sound waves, which are actually small variations in normal air pressure level. Sound waves can possess millions of high and low pressure areas, and within each wave, there's an area of each. On reaching the eardrum, a membrane moves back and forth in response to those vibrations. This movement is sensed by an organ inside the ear, which passes it on to the brain for analysis. Different sounds cause these changes in pressure to occur at different rates. The musical pitch of a sound is determined by how frequently the peaks and valleys in a sound wave occur. By the way, Pitch is the highness or lowness of a musical note. The loudness, also known as magnitude of amplitude, let me make that easier. Let's just call it amplitude. It's determined by the physical height and depth of each sound wave. The ear transforms these variations into recognizable sounds by identifying two conditions of each sound wave. Those two conditions are amplitude and frequency. So let me summarize here a little bit, and here's where the value add to this course comes in. Instead of just throwing a bunch of facts that mean nothing to you, I'm not going to just be a nonsensical talking head here. I want to take all of these facts, absorb them, and explain them to you so that you can really understand them. The most important takeaway here is to understand what a sound wave is and what it looks like. We compared a sound wave to an ocean wave. Sure, we all understand what an ocean wave looks like and how it rises, fades, and then rises again. But how is an ocean wave different from a sound wave? This is the most crucial point to understand from this section. A sound wave is different because instead of just going back and forth in one direction, like a wave you would see at the beach, maybe watching the tide, a sound wave disperses in every direction. You can view a wave at the beach in one dimension only, in and out and in and out, in a wide panorama from one side to the other. But a sound wave is circular. It disperses in every direction, not just towards you or away from you, but in every direction at once. To get this, think about me going outside to call my dog or my cat. I can yell in one direction, but the fact of the matter is, the sound doesn't just go straight ahead of me like an ocean wave. When it's coming out of my mouth, it goes all around me. It goes in front of me, it goes to the left, it goes to the right. Granted, it is loudest in the direction I'm shouting, but I can guarantee you that some of that sound goes all around me, even behind me a bit. I'm casting sound in every direction when I shout, not just in a single line directly ahead of me. The neighbors that live behind me can attest to that, believe me. So that's a little bit about sound waves, and I hope that gives you a better grip on exactly what the difference is between sound itself, sound wave, and maybe the picture you have in your mind of what a wave might look like. Coming up, we'll learn more about the specific characteristics of sound waves. As we get to know and understand each of these characteristics, we will understand how we can impact and consider each in order to continue our quest to capture the best possible sound for our recording.